I'm sorry for the long story, but there are a lot of key details that I find important to the story. Edit. Sorry, in the title I use the term will, but really this is about an inheritance trust situation. You can read further to understand. I, 25F, have a twin brother, 25M, and also two half-sisters, 65F, and I think the other is 60F. My dad turned 90 this year. My half-sisters have always sorta treated me differently. They're much more like my twin brother, sporty, more normal dressing, while I am more artsy, like to dress with self-expression, etc. They've always been quite rude to me and made me feel unwelcome, but that's not the problem. This year my dad went to our bi-annual family reunion. We have a large family scattered across the state, so it's a good way of connecting with everyone. I was unable to go this year. My mom, 70F, wasn't able to go either, but it was important for my dad to see his family since he is getting older, so my brother went with him. Over the recent years my dad is starting to have a harder time mentally and physically. He's frail, has a hard time remembering names of people, how people are related to him, and is showing signs of early dementia. At the reunion my sisters saw how he was not in the greatest shape anymore. I think they realized with him being 89 at the time, he doesn't have many years left in him. With his 90th birthday approaching, my mom was planning on having a birthday party for him, which my sisters were going to help plan. Months before his birthday my sisters got him really excited about a big birthday party where all his children would be there. While planning this party with my mom, they asked about where the family farm was going to go when he passed. This was a farm that was purchased by my father. He grew up on it, used to belong to his parents, which he bought later. His first wife, my half-sibling's mother, also pitched in to buy part of the farm. We don't live on the farm, it's a couple towns over, but it's where my dad grew up living. His first wife died very young due to illness, I believe. My dad loved her very much and didn't move on for a long time until meeting my mom, who worked with the younger half-sibling who introduced my parents and basically set them up. Since then my mom has also significantly financially contributed to the upkeep of the farm. My parents do make money from selling cotton on the farm, which helps pay the bills for the house they currently live in and helps pay for my dad's travels when he wants to go to things such as family reunions. I'd like to add quickly that one of my sisters is in the top 1% financially, flies in private jets, goes on vacations out of the country quite frequently. Her husband works for an incredibly famous and wealthy businessman, while the other lives in a Hilton Head, ESC area. Both are very well off financially. My parents live in a middle-class housing situation, maybe a little upper middle class. But we are not nearly as well off as they are. My mom mentioned that when her and my dad got married, my dad promised my mom that she could have the farm as there is a significant age difference between them, and he wanted to make sure she would be able to live comfortably after his passing, also taking into consideration that his two firstborn children were much more well off than they are. I will add that my dad did at one point promise everyone in our family the farm at one point, my sisters, my mom, my twin brother and I'm not sure why or how that happened, but we've all heard it for years. However, when my mom and dad got married, my dad put it in his will or trust or legal agreement of whatever kind, that my mom would receive it as that was what was the most fair in his opinion. They both currently own the farm as is. Upon the news that my mom would receive the farm, my eldest half-sister threw a fit. Began blaming my mom, saying she was greedy, insulting her and yelling at her. My mom was very distressed about this. A couple weeks later my other half-sibling sent a message in our family group chat saying she agrees with her sister, and that it's cruel they do not receive the farm as their mother financially contributed to helping buy the farm, and it would be an insult to their dead mother that they do not receive the farm. They began, in my terms, harassing both my parents, sending them 20 texts a day, calling them every day to yell or argue with them about them getting the farm, throwing insults at my mother and blaming her for everything. After the first 2 weeks of this my mom decided to stop talking to them altogether because she couldn't handle it. She is an incredibly busy woman, is my dad's caregiver, does everything she can to help my brother and I in whatever way she can, such as helping us college payments and documents etc., works so hard. Eventually my mom proposed that she would give up the farm entirely, which reminder she was promised, and split it 4 ways between each of my dad's children. My dad was very happy with this idea as I was there when this discussion happened. When this was proposed to my eldest half-sister, she was extremely unhappy. I heard her over the phone say, "Well, I won't say what I really think about that. clearly unhappy but trying to keep my dad from being more upset. They began sending messages listing out every nice thing they've done for us, every vacation they took us on, every time they visited us, dinners they've paid for, claiming the only reason my brother got into college was because of a letter of recommendation they wrote. Not true, and my brother was very hurt to hear them say that. I personally think if you only do nice things for people with the intentions of getting something out of it later, then it was never really a nice thing in the first place. We are grateful for those kind things, but we have also done things for them. Just nothing is expensive, so they don't see it as equal. Mind you, my dad's still thinking he's going to have this grand 90th birthday party with all his children, until my sisters say they don't want to come travel out of state for it because they don't want to be around my mom and they're unhappy about the farm situation. So they decided they were going to have their own birthday party for him, out of state. My dad can't travel easily, it's incredibly hard on his body and he's already in severe pain every day, and claimed my mother was not invited. My dad told them that he refused to go anywhere, that his wife was not welcome or allowed, as my dad loves my mom very deeply and my mom is what has kept him so healthy and happy over the years. I truly believe without my mom he wouldn't have lived this long. The phone calls and text messages continue for another 4 months. Almost every day my dad was receiving calls from my half-siblings about it. You could hear them yelling at him in the phone. The phone was never on speakerphone, mind you. This caused my dad to start drinking profusely, having anxiety attacks every other day, crying on our front porch constantly, claiming he wish he would die already so he doesn't have to deal with the pain of his daughters hating him and his wife. It was incredibly hard to watch being the only child living at home right now. My mom was under intense stress over this, crying nightly as well. It caused a lot of issues at home for all of us. They continue to blame my mom for all the hostility between our family, even though she hasn't said a word to them in months at this point. We end up having his birthday party, which they were still invited to, and I was the only child of his there. My twin brother started a new overnight job and couldn't ask for a weekday off to drive 4 hours to make it, but came down over the weekend for my dad's actual birthday to spend it with him. Not having his other kids there was very upsetting to my dad, but he ended up having a wonderful time at his party. Said it was the most love he had felt in his entire life. 30 of his closest friends showed up, showered him with gifts. It made me cry seeing him so happy. He still talks about it today. But not having half his family there clearly upset him. My sisters have since calmed down a bit with the calls and texts and now really only call or text him to talk about basically anything else, but still the occasional text of, "I'm sorry, my mother's name, has ruined the last few years we have had with you," and messages of the sort. My dad usually ignores them or will occasionally stick up for my mom, but usually ignores them because he's scared of them yelling at him or getting stressed out. But now he has started to beg my mom to give up the farm to them entirely before his death because he feels it's the only way to get them to stop and to feel at peace before his death. Basically, in my eyes, they have bullied him into feeling like they won't love him unless they get what they want. I'm at a point where I want to cut them out of my life completely. Despite them always being rude and making me feel like they disliked me my entire life, even as a child, that never bothered me that much as they were never a significant part of my life. But this, I don't think I can ever forgive them for the pain they've caused not only my dad but my mother as well. We are scared they are going to try to sue my parents for this, even though the farm currently is in my dad and my mom's name and they can't win any lawsuit over it. But they have the money to, and it certainly would cause my mom and dad a lot of money they don't have and stress. I understand they care about the farm a lot and it reminds them of their mother who is no longer with them, but we all care about that farm and have a lot of memories there, and I don't see why they are unhappy with dividing it up equally between all of his children. Am I the asshole for wanting to cut them out of my life?